All right. Good evening, everyone. We're just going to let the lobby fill in here. Give us 1 minute to have the people get into the room, and then we'll start our Boom Passport session. I want to thank you all for coming tonight, and we will keep this very informative and fun and light for everyone, so it won't be as painful as everyone thinks it might be. Um, My name is John Standel. With me, I have TJ Triola and Lee Kantz. We're all tied to Boom Learning. We're going to walk you through all the benefits that Boom Passport has to offer. Um, our backgrounds are varied. I'm a speech pathologist by training. I also have an educational background. TJ has his master's in education, and Lee comes to us with a degree in marketing and provides all marketing supports for our platform and our products. We're estimating the webinar is probably going to be like 30 to 45 minutes, somewhere in there. There won't be any Q&A, but if you want to reach out to us, our emails are John at Boom Learning, TJ at Boom Learning, or Lee at Boom Learning. They're pretty straightforward, as well as we will be sending out a recording of the session tomorrow that you'll get your hands on. So with that, I'm going to launch a PowerPoint, and away we go. So one of the great things, let me
Hold
just
on,
get
John. Yours is just showing.
just show on the thing. Hold on, let me share the whole thing.
Perfect.
That was a good. There we go. One of the great things, Boom Cards, Boom Learning started out as Boom Cards, and we really grew out of the pandemic when COVID kind of came into play. Boom exploded and we became a really large platform. Currently, we have roughly 1.6 million users on our platform. Those are educators, therapists, parents, and we've been utilized by students. I want to say the number is close to 4 billion plays. So from that standpoint, Boom has really grown over the years. Last year, we decided to build and launch a product called Boom Passport, which is an offshoot of Boom Cards. And that's what we're going to focus on tonight. We're going to talk about Boom Passport, which is there we go, come on, which is a product that was designed to really meet the needs of teachers. Um, One of the fun facts about Boom, you can see the teacher in this video, in this picture, is wearing a Boom hoodie. And I was going through the Atlanta airport, and there was a TSA agent, and I had on my Boom hoodie, and he looked at me and he goes, you can wear it, but you can't say it, right? Which I got a kick out of because, of course, it was the TSA. Um, the goal of Boom Learning is to provide teachers with content in the classroom, ranging for student needs from resource level students all the way down to kids in the self-contained classroom, the severe profound kids. Um, we are a small team. There are about 30 employees that work for Boom. The vast majority of the employees are on the development side, and you're meeting some of the forward-facing customer service people tonight. Mary and Eric Omeg started the company in the mid-teens and really didn't launch the product, didn't launch Boom Cards until uh, 2016, I believe. And it just kind of grew from there. And then when COVID hit, it exploded because it was the most versatile web-based platform to provide instruction remotely. So that's kind of the background of where Boom came from. Um, right now, we're focusing heavily on the special education market. Um, TJ and I came from N2Y and some other companies that have done a ton of ed tech SaaS-based curriculum development. And that's what we're bringing into Boom right now. Our goal, from what I've seen over my years of doing this, is teachers have been struggling finding good content, or they've had to build their own. What we are offering is the ability to have teachers get really great content, to stop searching and start teaching. Um, the forward-facing look of Boom Passport is giving teachers access to tens of thousands of decks that they can assign to students at all levels of differentiation and instruction to really meet their needs. So we really offer three products. Boom Cards, it's the original. They've been around forever. They're loved and adored by everyone. Last year, we launched Boom Passport. It gives teachers access to 80,000 decks. Those decks are created by publishers. There's roughly about 250 publishers that we work with. All of the decks in Boom Passport go through a very heavy vetting process So we make sure that they're the best of the best, that they're differentiated, that they have the right accessibility features in place. And then this really spring and summer, we've been working on the Boom Training Academy. In my experience in working with teachers and districts, if the company, the publisher doesn't support an implementation program, districts and teachers have a really hard time learning all the ins and outs of the product. So we're in the process. We have our first iteration of the Boom Training Academy on our website, and we'll be providing an LMS this winter that will provide teachers access to take courses and implement the product at their own speed. So Boom Passport. These are the areas we're going to cover tonight. We're going to walk through this PowerPoint, and then TJ is going to take you into the product. First of all, it's highly engaging and interactive. It's really designed for the kids to be met at where they are cognitively. Um, all of the decks, all the lessons, we call them decks, they're lessons, can be customized and differentiated to meet the kids. So that's a really important piece of the tool, is that so often teachers love some of the content, but they need to differentiate it. Maybe it's a little too high for the kids, or it needs to be modified. You can do that with all the materials. All of the decks have built-in accessibility features. So for kids with motor, vision, or auditory processing issues, we provide accessibility features that will meet their needs. The biggest piece with Boom Passport is I want to encourage independence. I want to really get those kids' student agency built up so they're interacting with the content at their speed and where they need to be. Data, data, data. Every Boom deck gives the teacher the ability to collect live data. So if they're doing it live with the class, small group, whole group, individual, homework assignment, that data tracking tool can be utilized to see how are the kids progressing through the decks, what's their mastery looking like, and where they're going to go. Obviously, because we came out of COVID, it works fabulously as a hybrid-based tool for remote or hybrid. It also is really, really nice for in classroom. There are actually tricks and tools you can use where you can use, we have a part of the product, it's called Boom Live. I could be assigning a deck to a student and watching them from across the room and kind of log into their session to see what are they doing. I don't have to interrupt them. I can simply just log in and see kind of where they are, and if they need some supports, I can provide them supports remotely. Administrative tools, we're going to look at those and talk about the administrative tools. Administrators have full access to see teacher login, teacher usage, how many decks they have, what they're doing with it. And then the goal, we want to save educators time. Um, the this special education space right now is really hard. Teachers are struggling. We want to give them their time back. We want them to stop creating. We have tons and tons and tons of content that they can use. So we can actually say, build your class schedule, go into the Boom store, find the decks you need, backfill as a resource, and you're up and running. And then we've already touched on Boom Training Academy. So first of all, the engagement part, super important for us. We want the content to be where the students are functioning. So age respectfulness is very important for us. Um, Elementary school students, their content's going to look sophomoric. It's going to look cartoonish. It's going to look like it should for that level of student where they are cognitively. As the kids age up, we want their content to age up so it's age respectful. So if I am working with a high school student and we are working on, hey, let's talk about ride sharing. How can you use Uber? The content they're going to see is going to look very respectful for where they are at their age, even though their reading level might be at a first or second grade reading level. The imagery they're looking at is age respectful. Um, there's feedback for the kids if they get it correct or incorrect. That can be turned on and off. Um, all of the decks can be used on any platform. We're device agnostic. It doesn't matter what device they're using, as long as it touches the internet, they can utilize it, which is very powerful. Also, all the decks can be printed off. So if you have kids that just need print-based materials, go into the deck, print it off, and you instantly have something they can take home if they don't have technology at home. The decks are customizable and they provide differentiated instruction. So some of the books are going to have reading levels associated with them. They might be the Fontes and Pinnell, the DRA, reading A to Z type reading levels. So we provide you with some of those. All the decks can be differentiated. I can put a deck into what we say is a prep mode, hide content that I don't want the kids to see or where they might not be ready to see it. And that way, when they start using the deck, they can only see what I want them to see. So we have a lot of customization capabilities within the decks that the teachers can use. So again, we wanted to provide the teachers really quick access to make the decks meet the kids' needs where they're at. Accessibility features. More and more states are pushing SaaS-based companies to meet the bare minimum for accessibilities. We are ahead of that. We provide auditory feedback. We provide if kids are on screen readers like JAWS, they can use our decks with JAWS. And if kids are if they have motoric involvement where they're using switches or keyboard scanning arrays to move through the decks, we provide that as well. So we give teachers and the students access to meet them again where they are with any motor, visual, or auditory needs that they need supports for. Here's the big one for me, independence. I really want to provide the students with as much independence as possible. So a teacher can assign a deck to a student as homework, as in-classroom work, to a group of students, however they want to assign the materials they can. The kids can log in on any device that they have, and then they can move through it at their speed and have their own pacing set for them. Um, there's we call it self-checking magic, where the kids can get feedback if they're getting it right or wrong. We reward persistence, so if they keep getting it right or they keep having struggling issues with it, you can see that, but they can move past that. And then that independence practice time, giving them time to work on it independently, sending it home as homework, and then seeing that data tracked. Oh, how do they do over the weekend? Or what are we looking at for their independent time? You can see error patterning and see how they're doing with their independence towards the IEP goals or the ARD goals that you set forth for them. Data tracking. When I work with administrators nationwide, one of their biggest pain points is we're struggling collecting really good data. All the decks in Boom have data tracking capabilities. So they can see how many times the student was exposed to the content, how they did. If looking at the window on the bottom here, you can see the little red and green checks. I can click into each one of those to see maybe we're working on lowercase letter identification and the student struggling with a lowercase b and p. I can identify that, modify my instruction to correct that error and move them past that so I can actually see what they're doing. On the bottom part, we can see response times. A lot of kids just click through activities and you think they're engaging with it, but they're not. They're all at zero response time. They just click, 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 click. You can actually see when did they enter that card, when did they exit that card, how long of response time did they have to see was there a thought process going on, or are they struggling getting that back to that P and B? If I'm seeing that error patterning, I should see a longer response time of, oh, is that a B or is that a P? I can then analyze that data to see what we need to do. So the data piece for Boom is really great for IEPs because I can literally export my data. I now have IEP data tied to exactly where I want that student to be functioning and demonstrate that IEP data at the IEP meetings. We touched on this, but I want to go into it a little bit deeper. Um, Instruction right now in the classrooms, I'm a big proponent of classroom-based instruction, then differentiate it down to meet the kids' needs. So I'm going to expose the whole class to what we're working on, then set the decks up to meet the kids' needs where they're at. So I might have, a couple of students who are independent. I can just assign them decks. They can do them independently. I may have a small group. Maybe we're working on some reading skills. They're working with a paraprofessional, then maybe I'm working one-on-one with two students and taking them through the decks as paper-based stimuli. You can do all of that with Boom. I can do video conferencing. So if I'm hospital homebound and I'm working with students, I have that capability. Using Boom Live, if a student's in a deck, I can fire off a version of Boom Live and I can log into their deck, do gameplay with them, interact with them, cue them into where I want them to go. I don't have to stand over the shoulder. I can do it all from my desk. or from across the room or down the hall. Um, the in-person advantages, again, that whole group instruction, I think, is really wonderful, using it on a smartboard and then breaking it down into smaller activities or independent learning centers. So one of the things that Boom Training Academy does is we make sure that we help teachers understand all the different ways they can implement Boom and how it can support their learners in their classrooms to meet their needs. Admins. Um, right now, if a publisher is not supporting a school district with a curriculum rollout, there's about a 40 to 60% failure rate with that rollout. The tools in the industry have gotten very complex. Without good training and good implementation, administrators really struggle. So one of the tools that we have with Boom, and we're continuing to enhance this tool, is our administrative controls. Our administrative controls allow the school district to function completely independently. They don't need to reach out to the company to add teachers, to remove teachers, to reassign teachers. If I have a long-term sub coming in that's going to cover a maternity leave, I can simply assign that teacher's license to that long-term sub, give them a new password, and that long-term sub has that teacher access right out of the gate. I don't have to do anything, or they don't have to do anything. It's just I can set them up. I can assign delegates. So in a really large school district that we work with, we may have the director of special education that's overseeing everyone. They may have 5 delegates underneath them that are working with there's the kindergarten coordinator, the primary, the middle school, the high school, the transition coordinator. I can make them all delegates. They can see their teachers. So I can partition out who I want to see what. You have that ability to do that with the administrative controls. And then usage and implementation. There are so many times that I've worked with school districts where they're just struggling with implementation. And a lot of it is training. Teachers aren't logging in. Teachers forget to log in. They don't have the right tools. We provide that implementation piece either virtually or in person. For large districts, we offer free implementation ongoing because right now teacher turnover is less than 24 months with the low incident self-contained classrooms. So there's a lot of turnover, and we decided as a company that we really wanted to support our teachers and make sure that we can get them up and running as fast as possible. So we have customer success agents that work with teachers independently. We work in small group or whole group with teachers to make sure that they're up and running. We also offer flexible training times, early mornings, late afternoons, because getting out of classrooms is tough. So from that administrative side, we want to make sure we're supporting those administrators as much as possible. Save time, reduce stress. The average special education teacher right now is working a 45 to 52-hour work week. It is not a standard, people are always like, oh, you're teachers, you guys don't work that hard. For those of us that have done that, Friday afternoons, we're emotionally, physically, and spiritually drained. The great thing about Boom Passport is it gives teachers access to so many lessons, 80,000 lessons covering reading, writing, math, science, social studies, transitional skills, related service activities for speech paths, OTs, ABAs, PTs, adaptive FIAD, adaptive art, all that content's in there. So if teachers are looking for specific things, they can find it. They can also share content. So I'm in XYZ school district. I'm a speech path. TJ is the teacher. TJ was working on budgeting and money skills. And I come in, I can take that same lesson and turn that into a pragmatic language activity for how can we go shopping with money and what does that look like? And let's have some language intervention. We want to reduce that classroom stress so the teachers and therapists don't have to hunt for stuff. It's at their fingertips. They can load it up into their class list and just use the content. Um, and again, back to the IEP goals, having data at your fingertips of how many times did the kid were they exposed to it? When did they hit mastery? And then when did they move on from that? All that's built into the program. We are part of your solution. We take our customer success and our customer service very seriously. The more we support our teachers and our educators, the better the product's used and the further our kids go. So we really partner tight with our school districts and our teachers to make sure we meet their needs. As I said earlier, we have 1.6 million subscribers on our platform right now. It is a heavy load for a very small company, but between our marketing team and our customer success and service team, we go above and beyond to meet their needs. And then finally, we touched on this debate, the Boom Training Academy. Um, I- this is one of my pet projects. I'm working with the team right now, um, giving instructional materials to teachers on how to use Boom Passport in the classroom and all the little tips and tricks we know. We're building it in there. So it doesn't matter if it's a teacher doing it independently or a whole district rollout. That Boom Training Academy provides teachers with kind of like show us, do it type activities of have you mastered these skills and are you ready to move on? And then you can become a Boom certified educator and use that moving from district to district or job to job down the road. So last but not least, I'm going to turn it over to TJ. I'm going to have him take you into the product. Um, the We're going through a ton of content right now. You're not going to assimilate all of it. You will get this video. I encourage all of you to reach out to us with any questions of, hey, John, I was at your webinar last night, got some questions for you. We need this, we need that. We will go above and beyond to make sure that you guys get your needs met. For the Speech Pass who are with us, we will be at the Asher Conference in DC in November. And then if any teachers are going to the Council for Exceptional Children Conference in, I think it's March in 26, we'll be at Salt Lake City. So make sure that you stop by. And if you want to learn more at any of those shows, feel free. Otherwise, that's my little piece of it. Here is our contact information. If you want to screen cap it really quick, go ahead. Otherwise, I will stop share and T, do you want to take over and take to the website?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Perfect. All right. Once again, thank you all so much for coming today. So as John alluded to before, really what Passport was created for was really the feedback that we got from our administrators as well as our users. Our administrators really wanted a place, really kind of in a sense, a safe place where the educators could access age-respectful, high-quality activities on a trusted platform. Teachers, on the other hand, wanted us basically for more premium activities and content. So really kind of how we decided to move forward with Boom Passport and kind of really remove the barrier of points, I should say, is we wanted to provide our teachers with really truly exceptional content. And with that is it's the budget shopping mentality. So we wanted to eliminate that having the need for points and kind of really being restricted to a budget to having those teachers be able to access anything at any time and really more of our high quality activities. That's the one thing that if you get anything out today is the Boom Passport activities go through a very rigorous process, really meticulous vetting process, really ensuring that really the highest quality standards for design excellence, factual accuracy, and even for the appropriate formative and summative assessments that go along with those activities. The really good part too is that even if you are currently using Boom cards, if you decide to switch to Boom Passport, you could seamlessly just transition all your activities that you previously purchased, and I say activities and I mean decks, right into your Passport accounts. You're always going to have access to those, as well as just open up a library of 80,000 activities for you. So the one thing that you pretty much kind of see already is the platform is going to look exactly the same as you see it with Boom cards. So the reason we did that is because we just wanted to provide you really with a plug and play solution. Really, you know the platform well, or if you have used it in the past, you'll know how to access the platform. And what we just simply did was just give you open access. So the really cool part is when you're in our store and you're searching through our decks, it's as easy as a Google search. So if I just wanted to go and pull up an activity, let's just say we had the holiday yesterday. So if I want to go to Indigenous Peoples or Columbus Day, I could simply go type in Columbus and find activities on Christopher Columbus and Indigenous Peoples Day. It's as that simple it is for teachers to go and access premium content really in seconds. Now, if I just dive right on into this activity, you could see everything that encompasses this activity right here. And if I jump right on into it, You could see a nice little preview of the activity. As you can see, the language is there for your students. It's age respectful for even your high school students, as well as your middle school students. And I could simply just kind of go through and scroll through and see the different cards that we have. And the same goes for any which way that you want to go and you want to search our activity. Simply type in what you want, easy to find. The other ways that we're going to have access to is really going to have access to the content for all grade levels. So we start at pre-K and we go all the way up for your transition students. So think about it in a special education setting for your life skill students and your transition skill first, getting ready for that workforce readiness. We provide you with the content for that as well as for all subject areas. So if you look on the left-hand side, you're going to see all of our subject areas, and you could easily dive into either any one of these activities going into language arts, and really filtering all the way down to really foundational skills and maybe focusing on phonics activities. So you could really get into the program and really find materials that are aligned for your students' needs, your students' learning goals, and really your students' individual, your IEP goals as well. The other way that you kind of go here, and as John alluded to before, you have the ability to go and now search for standards related activities. So now you could jump in, you're going to find your Common Core standards as well as your TEKS. You could select your TEKS, go all the way down and find activities that are aligned to your specific TEKS standards or your Common Core standards. So it's another easy way to go and access premium content in seconds. Accessibility options. I know John mentioned this before, but for your visually impaired students, you could always go there and pull up your visually impaired accessible lessons. Same with the auditory and your motor skills. So if the students require switch devices, you could go and pull up those activities that are accessible with those switch devices. So once again, it's really giving you a lot more options to use with your students. Just jumping around, I wanted to show you another key feature that we recently added with Passport, and that's the school library. And the school library is a really cool feature in here. So what this allows you to do is basically for your district and your school managed account. It allows you as the creator or the educator to go create activities and then share them with everybody within your account. So if I go into our studio, which allows you to create activities really on the spot. Super awesome, really customizable. But I could go in there and I could create an activity, such as taking a ride with Uber. And I could go and put this activity into our school library, giving everybody within my account access to view it. Think about it in a long time. I'm sorry, think about it in the ways of, let's just say, a morning meeting activity. Now, that's something that's pretty common in special education classrooms, where students will go in there, discuss the day of the week, the weather. You could go there and create a really cool activity, and rather than kind of recreating the wheel, share that with everybody. Now, everybody will have access to it and be able to do really, once again, save time as well as access to premium content. And then right here, we could jump right on into our activity, and boom, we have an activity on Uber. The really cool part with this is a lot of the activities that we could create are not only just text-based. They're really multi-module ways that you go in there and present material to students. So if I want to go in here and even just include some videos, if I have those visual learners, even if I want to go and skip ahead and now do some practical learning. So I want to go and relate it to real world situations of, hey, how am I going to go and order an Uber? I could go here and follow the steps. So there's a ton of different ways that our activities can be customized and created to fit the needs of our students. Even some of the really cool formats that we have too, especially when it comes to the assessment portion, is we have the ability to go in here and, in a sense, if I want to go and answer these questions, we could do some progressive elimination. So once again, a trip in a car or another vehicle, if I get the answer incorrect, it'll go and it'll start pulling away those distractors. Once again, allowing our students to focus on the key concept at hand, which will be the ride. So there's a lot of cool different features that we've started adding into our activities. So it's going to be something that your students are really going to love, as well as the teachers. It's going to save them a ton of time, especially with the modifications and differentiations that you could do within each one of our activities. Just our library, I just want to kind of just go over this. It's a great way to kind of go there when you find your activities to add it to your folders, and then now you can completely customize how you want to have your organization set up for your students. So I could go in here and I could start adding activities to my folders. I could assign my folders for trimesters, semesters, however you want to go and organize it by subject grade levels. I could even set it up for my, let's just say for my math students, my reading level 3 students. You could design it however you want to do it. So if I want to jump into my math, I could go right into my math activities and go and find activities such as algebraic questions and jump right on into this activity. So there's a lot of different cool ways that you kind of go there and just organize your folder and really prepare your entire year if you really wanted to, if you're one of those kind of nerds like I used to be. And the last thing I just wanted to touch on was the reporting tool. I know John mentioned this earlier, but this is a really critical to obviously everything that we do. Everything we do now is data driven. So with the reporting tool that we have the ability to go there and focus in on a specific class that we have. And if I want to go and pull up a particular activity. So some of the things that we have right now is that when I scroll on down, I could see my class roster and I could see how that student is progressing towards that particular activity that I assigned them. So let's look at it as an IEP goal or even just a learning goal that we want that student to have. So right now we're focusing on counting numbers 1 to 10. With this is every single time that this student completes this activity, we can actually see how many times that they went in there. We could see their average score, we could see their best score. And what I really like to focus in on is the first and the last. So this way you could see that first time that that student completed that activity, you could have your baseline data right there. And then you could see the last. So you could chart that progression of how that student is progressing towards that particular skill that you want to focus in on. You could also see the gems, which are basically just in a sense, just letting the teacher know that the student just got that answer correctly on the first try, as well as the time and the duration that the student is spending on those activities. John alluded to that before. But once again, if we ever want to take a deep dive now, we can always go in here and take a really good deep dive into the activity itself. So I can see for this particular activity, my student has completed it 3 times. And if I ever want to go into one of them, I could simply just click right there and now scroll and see everything that we have. So I could see what the student got correct and more importantly, what the student got incorrect. So I could actually click on those little X boxes and now see that, hey, the student got this one incorrect. You could actually see their first choice and then see the correct choice that they answered second. So it's a really good data tool for you to use, especially once again for IEP purposes. If you want to go there and identify strengths, weaknesses, this allows you to do so within the activity. When you go to IEP meetings, especially when you have parents that are questioning your goals, this right here is going to be your lifesaver. This will be, well, hey, here's my data of why I created that standards-based goal for that particular student. And like John mentioned before, too, the response time. Many times, especially with the students, a lot of the times they'll go there, they'll complete an activity, and they'll simply just click on through. This right here will give us a lot more data into the insight of, hey, why did that student get that correct or why they get it incorrect? Maybe they weren't spending enough time reading the activity, scanning through their choices, and making their selection. Maybe they just clicked on through. So this right here allows you really good insight into say, hey, listen, I see a little pattern here. I see when the student is focusing about 4 seconds, 3 seconds, when they're taking the time, they're excelling. They're getting those answers correct. So it's once again, data patterns. And I could go and click on any one of these and see exactly, all right, that student got it correct. More insight. So that's the little short and sweet version of Boom Passport. But like as you can see, it really does provide really educators, administrators, and students with a lot of benefits. The students, they're going to get engaging, self-paced learning, focused, rich library, interactive decks that are gamified. They're going to want to learn with Boom Cards. And if you have been using it, or if you have spoke to somebody who's using it, you could say that your students are pretty much addicted to it. I even do know that for some of the self-contained classrooms, that they actually use it as reinforcers for their students. So once again, they complete an assignment, they want to go and get onto Boom Cards, have fun with the activities, and have fun with the learning. For educators, what we're giving you guys, unlimited access to premium content. And with that, saving time. Like you saw before, it's a quick search. Type in what you want, pull it up, and boom, put it right onto the board. You got that. The other thing too is collaboration. That is something that we kind of really take with Boom Passport is the ability to, let's just say, collaborate with your team members. Since everybody's going to have access to our open library, I could sit there now and collaborate with my teacher down the hall where you didn't have that insight before with traditional Boom cards. Now you could actually look at the activity itself, go into your prep mode, prep that activity, and then now go send it out to your students. And then lastly, for administrators, the key benefit there is going to be the oversight and the reporting. Your admin dashboard is going to offer you real insight into the education, the educator's usage, your students' engagement, and then you're going to have all the tools necessary to go there and kind of basically, in a sense, track and make sure that your students' goals, your students' activities, your standards are being met. All the fun stuff's going to be there for you. And the best thing at all, too, I gotta say, because I'm a salesperson, cost effective. For the platform that we have, 80,000 activities for the pricing of $2.99 per educator is really a great deal, especially for the fact that you're going to have it from the pre-K levels all the way up to your transition students, covering all subject areas. And with that, I'll kick it back to John.
Thanks, Tej. So we wanted to give you everyone a quick overview. Um, the Boom Passport library will continue to grow throughout the school year. We keep adding new decks to it. We will be adding we have a area of Boom called the Boom team where we will be adding more content that is created by us to help teachers with tips and tricks on how to use Boom. And then, as TJ mentioned, the collaboration side of Boom for putting into a classroom and having a multidisciplinary approach, having the therapists, the teachers, the paraprofessionals, everyone getting in there and using the content. The growth of the students has been really impressive. We've just wrapping up an ESA study where we worked with the Special School District of St. Louis, and we'll be posting a white paper on our outcomes of that study. Very positive outcomes, so we're super happy with that. At the beginning of the webinar, I gave you our contact information. Again, john@boomlearning.com, TJ or lee@boomlearning.com. Feel free to send us any emails with any questions. And I want to thank everyone for their time. I know it's a early evening for the West Coast and late evening for the East Coast, so we appreciate your time and reach out for us if you need us. Thank you, everyone.